Welcome to this episode of how we do the Spark declarative pipeline. And if you watched my first episode where we spoke about doing the bootstrap, where you create the volumes and such, we're going to take this CSV today, which is inside that volume in dev or in the user volume. And we're going to take this CSV and we're going to do something like, let me just show you that PowerPoint again. So it's a bit like, if I just make this a bit bigger, we're going to do the bottom PCS, take the CSV files, put them into bronze streaming, into silver streaming, and then into the gold layer. We're going to summarize it. We're just going to create some really basic summarization thing based on people's surnames and what we'll categorize them between like A and G, letters between A and G, and then H to L, whatever. So we'll just categorize people like where their last name starts with a certain letter. We'll just group them. So this is as an example of how we might summarize a gold layer. So let's get rid of that. Now, what we want to do is like sort of have the idea that our functions sit in a different folder and that our transformation sits in, the transformations is the ETL pipeline, which we're going to build. So this is where we'll do from pyspark dot, I think it's just import pipelines, maybe import pipelines like that. We'll just give it like a decorator as DP. And then so we'll do that next, but let me just go to here. So we will do something like that, but that won't work natively. It'll work like here in locally, but in Databricks, that won't work because it kind of needs to know the sys path as to how to get to those functions. But what we're going to do is do like a function where we sort of declare the schema of that, of this CSV. So we'll take all these columns and say, okay, we're going to like enforce the schema, and this is what the schema is going to look like. So whatever data we pull in from the CSVs, we're going to do that. So we'll do something like this. I've copied it already just for the sake of time. We'll just put it in here. So it's a bit like that. And now you see there's a whole lot of squiggly lines there. And that's because you've got to import some libraries. So we'll say from pyspark, import, all those types there. All right. So I've got my GitHub Copilot is obviously suggesting what I should type there. So that makes coding so much quicker. And then we probably want to do the function where we do the grouping for the gold layer. So we'll do something like first SurnameGroup or something. And then we're going to send in a column. So that column could be, the column name, whatever you want to put in there. And it's a string. So we know it's a string like that. And then we will take the first letter from their surname. And then something like that. So substring 1, but we're going to probably trim. We could trim that. And we're going to uppercase it as well. So because we uppercase. And then we're going to maybe trim the column before we actually do anything. I think we can do that. We probably need to, if we're going to do that, we probably need to call col. Otherwise, it's going to get itself in hysterics. So we're going to go from pyspark, import the upper and the trim and the col, and we'll probably do a where as well because we're going to build a where now. We'll say where the first letter, so we'll return a string here, and so we'll say take this key, because the key name in this data set is the surname. We'll say we'll pass in the key name, right? Anyway, so we're going to pass in the key name, say take the first letter from key name, return when you find that the first letter is between A and G, then group it as A and G, something like that, right? And then we'll just do like when the first letter is, let's make our groupings H to L, I think that'd be better. And then we'll go when it's between M and R, yeah, S to Z, that looks about right. Otherwise, something other, just in case. Maybe there's a different character that's there or something. So let's just get rid of that. Just space there, that should work. Let's It's not happy about something there, but we'll just do that, and then we'll go boom, boom. So that should work. Return that. I wonder if this is closed. So we got a substring there, upper, trim, column name. That doesn't look right. We kind of want to go. The substring is going to be outside of that, so that's not going to work. We want to substring the column itself, so we want to substring that. And then we're going to take the first and the first. Yeah, that'll be better. Probably need to put a substring in here somewhere. Maybe it's substring here. When, not aware, sorry. Okay, so we'll do that. And then when, so we uppercase the result, and the substring is going to trim the column first. Let's see that. Trim the column. We'll get the column name, trim it, and then get the substring starting at character 1, get the first character, then uppercase it. Yeah, that should work. Okay. So then we're going to return that. I don't know why there's so many. There you go. Let's get rid of all those empty spaces. Now we've got our function there, and we've got our context schema here. So we're going to enforce the schema, and then in the gold, we're going to apply that. Now, if you want to use it, so we're going to build our pipeline in here, and we want to use those functions. I think what we want to do is just get rid of this, and we're going to, it's obviously going to have a squiggle there, and it's not going to know what the hell is going on, but we're going to import sys and then do an append. That may work. We could try it like that, but let's just see. We're going to then do we'll show you how to do validation, because expectations in pipelines is something that you're probably going to have to do at some point. So let's just build some like valid rows expectation here, right? That's going to look a bit like this, where we'll make a rule, and we'll say the rule is that constituent ID should not be null, right? So let's just do that quickly. And we'll say we sort of have to make it like a SQL statement. So something like that is not null, like that. So it becomes a rule. Let's see if that works. Our rule is not null. We can call it like constituent ID not null, something like that. Constituent ID. So this is to say if this column is null, then that's an invalid row, right? And we'll do that expectation in a minute. So we're going to also put like a little variable that's for our catalog, because we're going to run this in multiple catalogs, like the user catalog, dev catalog, production catalog. So we just need like a target catalog thing, and we're going to get it from the spark.config.get. And we're going to get that catalog name. And I'll show you how to pass it in a minute. Target catalog name. Let's call it that. Doesn't be whatever you want to call it. And then we're going to create a streaming table like that. And then we'll give it a name. This is just for decoration, really, for sort of. Let's just see what that does. Schema equals, option equals. Don't need all. That's too much, I think. So get rid of that. So we'll say the target catalog is. If you remember, we built. See what it looks like quickly. You'll see that in here. No, I'll show you this one. We built these schemas: 1 bronze, 2 silver, 3 gold. So let's go back to that. This will be 1 bronze, the contact. That's be the bronze table that we're going to create, and we're going to then expect or drop. So we don't want any constitutionalities that are valid rows. There you go, and we'll just close it up. Right, now that is, so we'll do this at dp, no, not there, sorry, at dp dot append flow, and then I'm just taking this from the notes I've already got, just so you can code along with me. You can put name there, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do source, and we're going to go, okay, what's the source? Sorry, the target is this here. We don't need all of that, actually. We're just going to go like this, and then we take out the mode. But now I'm going to keep this simple, and then we're going to, right, so that's the, we're going to append data to this bronze table. This is making our pipeline, right? We're making our ETL pipeline. So this will be making it inside of here. So we're going to generate it here. You'll start to see it. It'll look a bit like this. If we do a dry run, you'll see what it looks like. So obviously I've already built this, but I just wanted you to code along with me. And I'll try and explain what I know as we go. Some of the decorators and some of the stuff may be not necessary, but we can probably figure out what that is. So you'll see it look like that. We're going to do, this is what one we're doing right now. So it's the bronze one, streaming table. And so we'll do that. And then we're going to say, okay, so what is it? So we've defined the name of it, but now we have to say, okay, let's make it. So we can call this function whatever we want. It doesn't be like files to bronze or whatever you want to call it, right? And then we'll say like that, and then we'll return like that. We'll go spark.read stream. If you're going to read that stuff, but it's actually coming from cloudFiles, and the reason for that is coming from a volume. So we want to read it from the volume, which is, if you remember, it's inside the default here. So it's default CSV files, and we want to read that CSV file. So we want to read that, and then it's .option cloudfiles.format CSV. You need that, definitely need that. We don't want to infer column types because we actually want to put a schema in here. So we're going to just enforce the schema. And we're going to go and get the schema from the functions, which is we built here, right? So you could go get context schema there. And so we want to go and get it from there, get context schema. Then we want to load where we want to load from, right? So this is going to be where we get it from the volume. So let's get that from volumes. And it's going to be from the target catalog. So that'll be, the target catalog is going to be this one here. Whatever, that's why we want to make it dynamic. Either be from this one, that one, or that one. So we'll go back to that. So we'll put it targets catalog dot default. We know it's going to be in the default schema. That's where we've put it. And we want to get anything that is a CSV, so we'll just do something like that. Then we're going to do a little select here. And we're going to get everything, first of all, star. And then we're also going to create some metadata files. Metadata, let's give it underscore metadata file path to sort of show us where it's come from, which CSV it came from. And then we'll also get maybe a metadata dot file dot modification time. So that's just so we know when it was ingested. And then we'll have one more column, which is current timestamp, ingest time, something like that. Modified time and ingest time might be the same. We'll see if that works out to the same thing. Oh. So we've got to return the select there. Wait. And then we need one more of those there. So we're returning that. See if that works. So we've got our, now we've defined our bronze table and done that. We could deploy this quickly and see if it's going to work, right? So let's take. We are in the right folder. So let's go Databricks bundle deploy and see what it does. We'll probably get it. We might break on this append path. We'll see. Can't even see what it did there. That doesn't look correct. Go back to this, let's see what it did. Well, okay, it just popped up. Let's give it a dry run, see if it works. So it's got to go and get the functions from the function folder. You never know, it might work. That the way that it's going to go and track those functions over here in the append. So it's going to go back out one folder into the function folder, go and get the Python functions. Oh, error. No module named that. So it can't find it for some reason. So let's do something I already experimented with, which is just to do that and then see if that works. So let's redeploy that. Right, it's done. Let's just refresh the browser here. Let's do another dry run. See if it can prepare that table for us and show us that it's going to create it. Okay, we're getting the same problem. So it's workspace users, Clint Grove, LDB target, users, files, CRM work, transformations. Can't seem to get that. So from functions, oh, that's why. From Python functions, no. From functions folder, because it's going, basically it's going out one level, and then is it going out one level? So we're in transformations here, out one level, out one more level, and then into functions folder. That could be it. See what that does. So let's refresh. And then go dry run. Oi, cannot find function folder. Function folder, cannot find it. Probably because I got the import wrong. Because I think it's not expecting that. Expecting like that. Maybe not as if. Let's do that. So that should be maybe Python functions dot get. Yeah, something like that. There's different ways to do this, I think. So this is one way to do it. It's probably a better way to do it, but I don't know what it is. Let's try that now. Refresh. It's a way to do it, put it that way. And maybe it is a good way to do it. Who knows? The pros will knows. We are not, it is not happy. It is not happy. Technically that should work. Python functions. I wonder if it needs an init. Oh, what does it need there? Right, so we're going to pause the video here. See me, I can try and figure this out and then be back in a second. Right, all I needed to do was to do the import first and then the from, so that seemed to have worked. Right, let's go on to this expect all or drop. I think I got the spelling wrong on that one. See if we can get it to work again. We're going to try run one more time. Come on, baby. Nope. Value of invalid type passed to parameter next to string. So that doesn't like that. I'm going to copy some previous code that I had. Let's see if this works. Very similar. Expect all or drop equals valid rows. Valid rows equals that, and that is the SQL equivalent of how it will do it. So I call it that. Let's see if we can deploy this now and try run it. Go again. Okay, that's working now. So we've got our bronze table. So let's now, so we're going to build the next thing, which is going to be this. So this, you can see that's our bronze table. We're going to do the silver table now. And silver, technically we could have just landed that without doing the schema enforcement into the bronze and then do that enforcement in silver. But let's go dp dot create streaming table, and we'll call this to silver contacts, and then we don't need to do any kind of expectations at this point. And then we're going to append the flow, and we're going to do something like that. That, and then we'll just do, let's see what's come up with Copilot. Okay, so we want to read stream. Do we want to read, is it called read stream? Yeah, it's actually, we want to prefix that with, let's get rid of this quickly. So what you want to do is like dp dot, so pipeline read stream from the bronze table. Yeah, that looks about right. And we want to okay, so with the, want to create a new column here, shall we? Python, no, that's, we don't want to do it in the silver table. What we could do is create the surname group that's per row. So going back to our, so this is really a silver function. So we're going to create a new column, and we're going to give it either an ANG or HOL or MOR or SZ value in that new column, and then we'll use that column later in the gold table. So we'll do that. So we're sending in key name, which is your last name. So we're adding an extra column here in row 48. We're reading from the streaming table, bronze, that we created, which has got some expectations on it to have this constituent ID not null. Remember that? And then we're going to read stream from the volume, apply the schema, get the files from there, catalog defaults, CSV there, and then we're going to add some metadata to it, and then we're going to do our bronze to silver. And then at this point, we don't want all that metadata, so we might drop the file modification time, ingest time. Like that. So if we deploy that again and we build it, we should see that that will be good for our silver. So our silver table, we're just adding a bit of transformation, not doing any kind of stream cleaning or anything like that, or validation. This is just for the purpose of showing you how to build the ETL pipeline. And then there you go. So that's our silver table. And so we click on that, nothing happens. Okay. And then lastly, let's build our materialized view. And then we're going to make it the name 3 gold contacts. Yep. And then we're going to go get rid of that. Name of that. And then we'll go a function, silver to gold. And we're going to return. We're going to spark.read table. Well, at this point, we don't need to read from stream, or do we? I think we can. That might give a problem. Spark.read table, silver contacts, and then we want to group by. We're going to group by SurnameGroup, aggregate the everything based on, let's just see, we'll call that like row count or something. And then we shall, oh, that's the aggregate, don't want to do that. And then we're going to order by maybe SurnameGroup, something like that. So we're going to group by the SurnameGroup, this column we made earlier. We're going to count all the rows based on that. So that'll group by the SurnameGroup, count all the rows in each of those groups, order by the group. Yeah, let's give that a go. Okay. Right. I don't think these are necessary. Let's just comment them out and see. So this is necessary though, because this is just a function that comes directly after your materialized view. So I think you need your decorator and then your function directly afterwards. So let's deploy that. Oh, deploy. And then go back into our, if we go into here, I think there's some tables already. No, there's no data. So, okay, this will be a good test because currently there's nothing in our bronze, silver, or gold. And if we go to here and we just do a dry run again. We got a problem. Failed to read data set 1 bronze contacts. The data's not defined in the pipeline. If stable is measured on the pipeline, then do not use dlt.read stream to read the table or prepend the name with live keyword. Okay. I thought it was working earlier. So we had 1 bronze contact. We're not reading that into the gold, are we? So for the gold, we're reading in that. It could be this read stream here, dp.read stream with column, potentially. This is not defined in the pipeline. That is weird. Let's do a full table refresh and see if it works. Managed by another pipeline. Shouldn't be. All right, let's hit pause on that quickly. I'll be back in a second once I've figured this out. Oh, it turns out we do need these ones. Create streaming table. And here, create streaming table. And then we append. I don't think we need the append flow. We can test it, but it works without that. Let's just give it a little go, right? I wonder if we put like an @ symbol in front of this, it'll freak out. It might not. So if we go like that, let's test it. So we go like that, deploy, and then let's run that again. Oh, nope. Type is not callable. Non-type. He does not like that. All right, let's just go like that. And like that. Maybe that'll work. And go again. Try run. Okay. So the decorator is probably the problem. The @ symbol. Get rid of that. And then we're going to go into, whoop, sorry, hitting over my microphone here. And then let's get rid of that. Just experimenting. Let's see if we deploy that, what we actually need here. In class graph registration context. Wow. Okay. So I think we need that append flow. And we need that there. Right, let's go one more time. Experimentation done. Run that dry. And it works. All right, so we need that. We need all of that stuff. Let's get rid of this quickly. So here we've got our bronze, silver, gold. The bronze, we're just doing expectations of constituent ID not being null. Silver, we're doing, we are making a new column. We're grouping, we just like putting the key name in there. But we're applying this function to it, which is here. So we are saying return the first letter. If it's that, between that, then make it that. And then the goal is we aggregating and grouping by. So let's see what it looks like. Finally, run the pipeline. Let's see what it looks like. Shouldn't take long at all because we are using serverless, as you can see there. And what else? Development mode on. If you're using a classic cluster, that'll be quicker. Right, so it's going output 1 expectation, output records 4, because there's only 4 rows in the CSV, and then grouped by there. It's done. So getting back to our catalog, get into our bronze. We'll just see a table there now. Let's have a quick look at this data. It's conformed to the schema. Start this, and let's have a little quick look at that data. And then you've got the 4 there, and there's no nulls in this data anyway. And there's our extra metadata here. We've got our file name, where it came from, Modification time, is it the same? 25th of February, 25th of February? Yeah, it's exactly the same, isn't it? Well, that's 11:02, and that's 15:19. Interesting. 25th of the 2nd, 25th of the 2nd. Maybe that's when I actually modified the CSV file. Probably what it is. And this is the ingest time. Right, and then we'll look at our silver layer. Have a quick look at that. It should have an extra column in it. We can scroll over to the right. There's the surname group. There's only one group, so I would expect that our goal table is just going to have one row. 4 people inside the S2Z group. And there you go. So we built it. We built our little ETL pipeline. It looks a bit like this. Show you again one more time. Done. So basically it took 7 seconds, 3 seconds. I mean, very quick. Outputted 4 rows in 1 row. And that's it. So if we go back to our pipelines, that shouldn't be red there. If we refresh this, we should have a green. Sometimes it's a bit laggy. Sometimes it doesn't show you the latest run. There you go. That run is complete. So I hope you enjoyed that. How you create a Python-based Spark declarative pipeline using functions from another folder. Maybe that syspath thing helped you out a little bit. There may be different ways of doing it, but this is the way I've done it. And then because you've made this dynamic, you can run it against different catalogs. Just to show you that last bit on how that actually works. So if you go into the ETL itself, this is the part we didn't build with you, but if you look at the configuration, we're passing in the variable catalog, and we're actually passing that in from the Databricks YAML. So you'll see from the YAML, we've got catalog. So we pass it in here. So we were running on the target user. So it'll use the catalog here in row 33. If you're running it from dev, it'll run that row 46. And if from prod, it'll be row 56 there. So that goes into your resource, which, so we built all the functionality for our Spark declarative pipeline. And then this is the actual ETL YAML. So it's called resource pipelines. And this is the name of it. You can call that name whatever. It doesn't need to be called CRM work. And then this is another name here. That name becomes a name inside of your user interface inside Databricks. And then we give it a configuration, which on the outside looks a bit like this. If you go into your pipeline, go into settings, you might actually see it here, or will you? No. So go into settings and you'll see configuration there. So you can see this is the configuration, target catalog name. And going back to our code, target catalog name was inside here. There it is, target catalog name. So we get in the configuration and we're passing it through dynamically as we go in. So there's other ways you can obviously use those dynamic configurations. So remember how it works. From Databricks YAML, passing in the catalog, we grab the catalog name here and we put and assign that to this configuration. Then inside of our here, we go and get that configuration and we use it. So I hope you enjoyed that. Chat soon.